welcome to another special episode of Zapped to the Past. I am Adrian Mills. I'm joined as always by Mr. Graham Raddings. If you haven't listened before, it's a podcast where we discuss games that were released for the Commodore 64. We usually use the magazine Zap 64 as a monthly guide for the games to focus on, but we've gone off-piste again this week. We've gone and found some games that Zap never looked at, and we had to look hard for these games. Hard, I tell you. And the reason we had to look hard is because these are games that hide in the shadows. They hide. They don't want to be seen. They just want to pop up and with a blow dart. And before you even know they're there, lob a shuriken in the back of your head. Yes, this is the ninjas that Zap forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we've gone and found some other ninja games. Ninjas were big in the 90s, weren't they? Sorry, 80s. They were big.
Yeah, big old ninjas.
Lots of things. And we've seen lots of ninja games that we've looked at. The Last Ninja series, obviously, is a big one. We've had Way of the Ninja.
Way of the Tiger.
Way of the Tiger, where you played a ninja.
Yeah.
We've had, what other ninja games? We had Ninja Hamster, Ninja, Ninja Scooter, which one about ninjas. Ninja Scooter branded scooters. It confused us at the time. But there were others. There were others that escaped. Oh, Avenger, yeah. So ninjas were a big thing. We have gone off and found some other ninja games because we thought it'd be a bit of a laugh to find those ones and just see what escaped the pages of Zap.
That's it.
And so we found four ninja games. Now, after playing these ninja, well, we're going to go, you can listen, but I'm going to say that it may have been a mistake to go find these games.
Yeah,
because it probably, maybe shedding light on these, shining some light on them probably wasn't the best of ideas. But we don't know.
Necessarily a good idea.
We don't know. Until we do these things, we don't know. You know, we just thought we'd go and do something different. And we'd have a look at some ninja games. So, Graham, it's ninjas. It's the ninjas that Zap forgot. Should we just get into them? Should we just get into these games, these ninja games?
Just dive into them. Let's get our tabby boots off. Let's relax. Drop our, let's put our swords to one side. Blowpipes, just put them down. Ease down, Ripley. Ease down. You've blown the transaxle.
I think I have. I think I've blown something. All right. Okay. Enough of this waffle. Let's get into our first ninja game that never got looked at in Zap. And our first game in our ninjas that Zap forgot is over to Graham. Graham, well, this one's clearly obvious. They clearly didn't know where it was. It is The Lost Ninja. Tell us all about it.
And it's not a pun game either. This is The Lost Ninja, not to be confused with The Last Ninja, which renders Google searches almost impossible for this, let me tell you that.
yeah, absolutely.
This was published by Golden Disc 64. I don't know if it was ever published. It was released on a disc mag that I do know of, but other than that, I don't know much more about this one.
I think that was it, yeah.
So hence the reason it was lost. It was copyright CP Verlag. Developer was Masters Design Group, or the Masters Design Group. It's coded by Ingo Wolf. He did something called Orbit and Tower of Terror. And it was also coded by Oliver Styler. He did something called Cyberblocks, which are all games I don't know if you've looked at. And they might be because they know. The graphics here are by Arnold Franz Sikowski. Sikowski.
Officer Sikowski.
He did something called The Curse of Ra. And the musician, though, is Thomas Detert. Now, he did Gordian's Tomb. So, and a few others that we've come across. And you can tell a bit. Now, I can tell you this. Information about this game, like the Lost Ninja himself, very difficult to find.
Yep.
In fact, so difficult to find, I managed to find one tiny scrap of indication of what you're meant to do from a YouTube video that had a slight flash of some information on it. Because I could find no instructions, nothing. Nor could I find any instructions in the game that meant anything, because it just starts with, this is an adventure. You can do stuff. But it doesn't tell you what you've got to do. So the one little video tiny thing I managed to capture, it said, the evil wizard Erdner demands to rule the world. So he opened the gates to hell. Dark creatures now menace our kingdom. You are the last one who can help us kill Erdner and close the doors. That's it. That's all you're getting. I could not find any more about this. So this review is going to be a little bit shorter because I genuinely didn't have a clue what I was meant to do. I kind of guessed a little bit on the way it played, but other than that,
make it up.
Yeah, I could make it up because it is a Lost Ninja. So I'm guessing the idea of the game is to close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. Get Hodor.
Mind
get
the
Hodor.
gap.
Hodor. Close the doors. Hodor. So he starts off with what is a nicely coloured title screen. I'll give it that, or loading screen. But his eyes have gone wrong. So they've almost drawn the last ninja from a distance in that famous close-up of his eyes. But it's like someone's punched him and poked him in the eyes, going, he's blinked a bit too much, and his eyelashes have come off. And then his sword looks like a giant black grey banana growing out of a woman's head. There's issues with that loading screen. And then you've got Lost Ninja, not the Lost Ninja at this point, Lost Ninja. He doesn't look very lost there. He's quite unlost, really, I would say. And then you will get to the title screen. There is like a track sequence where it sort of runs on the screen. You see little graphics running about. There's little gnomes things running around on these, what are quite colourful backgrounds. And then sort of pops up with little text boxes to say things like, you can get extra weapons in the shop. And it tells you all the little things you can do, but not the things you have to actually do for the game. So when you start the game, this is a one-player game. You'll see initially quite nice background graphics and UI. The UI is at the bottom of the screen. It's quite a nice layout to it. There's clearly space for picking up objects. On the right-hand side, you've got an energy indication. There's a score, and then there's some other numbers which probably pertain to something, including a number of lives that you have. You are, when you start the game, obscured by what must be a giant gnome, or you are a tiny, tiny ninja. So no bigger than the size of an amoeba. And you are resplendent in your blue suit and inside a house at this point, just ninjaing about. You will then, I guess, use the joystick to control the ninja, and he walks at this point. You'll press fire button to do actions, which include going through doors and chopping with the sword if you have it, or other weapons. And also then you can jump by pressing angle, and he does a mighty, mighty jump. And this is like a leap more than a jump. Mighty leap. And so in the first screen, what you'll see is there's some nice, the top, that's the bottom half UI is probably, maybe a quarter of the screen, maybe a little bit more. The rest of it's the game. And there's some nicely shaded details here. So there's a nice sky effect, some mountains, there's some trees and some flowers. The characters in the wander around are a little bit weird. I'm not exactly sure what that's got to do with where this ninja game is. It's clearly in some kind of fantasy realm, and you're a ninja in it. It's not like it's a ninja in Japan or a ninja in US. This is not feudal Japan, let me tell you that. No. And so the idea initially is you'll break these two treasure chests. One of those is a giant sword. Now, the sword is massive. It's like a giant sword that you find. And then you can arm yourself with the sword by pressing the space bar, which I guess cycles through the weapons when you get them.
Yes.
And then you climb down the ladder, and then you can go to the little grey door, press the fire button, and then you'll be in the outside world at this point. Then you can walk to the left and right, and you'll see that there's lots of really colourful, unusual objects that don't fit in a game called The Lost Ninja whatsoever, including sort of fantasy houses. There's little gnome creatures running around. You can stop and talk to them. If you press your fire button, they'll talk to them, and they'll say things like, there's some nice weapons over there. The usual things you get in this kind of thing. So you get the hint that this is kind of a arcade adventure style. Maybe not so much a walk and seek, but a kind of I don't know, he walks, but he kind of runs when he's got a sword. The movement's a bit weird in this. So you never know quite what pace the ninja's going to go at, but he goes at whatever pace, he does. And you'll move this mini ninja around the screens. And the idea, I'm guessing, is that there are objects that you need to find and pick up and then go and do stuff with. That's the only prevailing thought I could imagine from what game I played here. Periodically, you are attacked or at least run into by various gnome-like creatures, and you can clobber them on the head with your sword, which you can do, and then they fly off, and they'll come back, and then sometimes they drop little bags, and in that bag's a treasure or items that you can pick up, and I'm guessing the idea is you do stuff with them. Some of that is money. I didn't find the shop, but you can go and buy items from the shop to upgrade weapons and do that. I didn't find that, but you can do that. And I'm guessing the idea is that you can go across the various screens. Now, I don't know how many there were, but there was quite a lot of screens, and they have a really weird little thing they do. So when you go to the next screen, it draws a little bit Last Ninja-y, which is odd for a side-scrolling game on the split screen on the C64. So there's little, I don't know if it's on purpose or whether it's just the way it does it or whether it's some quirk, but it's like, if you imagine this is like a bad 2D Last Ninja called Lost Ninja, but without any of the ideas of being in the island of wherever it was, and there's no Kunitoki and Toga scrolls and all of that. This is kind of, I think this is a game where they dropped a ninja in and called it Lost Ninja because they didn't have anything better on the cards and nobody come up with anything better.
Probably.
So the game feels like a bit of a mishmash of two things that don't work. Now, I think it's a walk and seek type adventure, flick screen, as I say, and it draws them with some, like I said, nice backgrounds. And the sprites are okay for what they are. They're very small, and your ninja's even smaller. He's a weird little fellow, isn't he? Animated oddly. His jump is weird. He controls a bit weirdly. He seems to move faster when you use the sword with that really weird leap to climb over. So you can run up to objects and you can jump over them. You can only go backwards and then jump over them at an angle. So you can't jump straight up and across You have to sort of do a running jump, which is a bit weird. It all gets a bit lost as well. The graphics in the wonderfully colourful background, but not some wonderfully coloured ninja who's like his little blue blob. A little blue man shape that sort of runs around, and he easily gets lost in all the details here, of which there are some, like I said, nicely shaded things. There's some good shading and stuff like that going on, and there's no doubt about that. The graphic artist is talented, but it's all lost and meaningless in a game where you've got no ideas. Like I said, the UI at the bottom, again, quite nicely designed, nicely shaded, but in the absence of any instructions, I just wandered around, spoke to some gnomes, I think, battered a few of them with a sword for no reason, really, other than I'm a ninja, really, and that's what I thought you did. Picked up a few of their things, tried to find some objects, just kept on going into different, what looked like really nicely. And honestly, the graphics get nicer and nicer as well when you get to some of the inside sequences. And later in the castle, when I looked on a YouTube video, the graphics get really good for this. And maybe there's a good game underneath all of that. Maybe I missed that because I didn't know what to do. So it looks nice. The sound's good. The music's good in this. Don't get me wrong. It's of Guardian's Tomb-esque. It's got that kind of Thomas kind of pace he brings to the scene. So it's got a pace. And it's okay. Does it suit this game? Does it suit ninjas? Not really. But nothing does. The only thing ninja about this game is the ninja in it. The lost ninja is because he's in the wrong game. He got lost in this game somehow. So I think that's how it's called the Lost Ninja. Other than that, what's lost about it? I don't know why he's lost, what he's lost, who he's lost, what the plan is. I don't know. I battered some gnomes, stole some stuff, wandered around a bit, and kind of got bored of doing that and thought, what am I doing? I picked up a sword, waved it around for a while, ran around, did some heroic leaps, and I thought, I don't know, my instincts were telling me that there's some good graphics here and some musical talent on display, and definitely graphic talent, but the game had no depth, and it all got reduced down to wandering around as a ninja, picking stuff up and fighting now and again, and not really, and talking to people mainly. So there's a bit of Usagi Yojimbo in there maybe, but not like that really. It's something we've done before, and it's this sort of game, but done better. You just go and play Last Ninja if you're going to play a game like this. If you want a game where you're a ninja and you're going around doing stuff. I don't know. I don't think this was ever published, as I said. It's a disc mag. Maybe that's where probably for the best, really. Nice details, lots of it, very expansive, colourful graphics, but a big waste of time, really. And if you've got neither the inclination to continuously punch gnomes or wander around being a ninja and not doing much of anything else, you're going to seek ninja-y stuff elsewhere. Maybe this is one for the Walk-and Seekers. I don't know. But it's not going to win any design awards anytime soon, is it? So, and it didn't come at a price, and it didn't have a Zap score, obviously. But I would be giving this in the 40s if I was going to score it. I don't think it's... I may be a bit high for the graphics and the music, but there's nothing to the game. I don't think there's anything in there, unless I missed the instructions and there's some great game in there that I don't know about. What did you think?
It's an odd thing, isn't it? It's a really odd thing. Yeah, it's an unusual walk and slash thing with the blue pantalooned ninja. I'm going to say ninja, but did you climb the trees and stuff?
Yeah. As I say, you can go around and do stuff, but there's not.
Right, yeah.
Well, I don't know what the purpose of it was.
Because I quite enjoyed the fact you could just sort of clamber up the trees, swing a sword with a gusto and stuff. The visuals are oddly drawn in each screen, the way like you said, like the way they're just kind of drawn in. This is odd. There is some nice dithering in places. And there's some nice shading, some of the background stuff. The sprites are a bit murky, but they're not terrible. And you do have, like you said, there's a mighty jump here in full effect. I've seen a mighty jump for quite a while, like this one. But on the whole, as you rightly said, it's little more than okay, this at best. The pace is odd. Sometimes it goes really fast. The jump is really massive and go really fast, but the walking isn't, and the swinging the sword is odd. You can get the invulnerability potion as well at the start, which you can activate if you press I, which makes you change on your shield. And just a little way in, if you climb up the trees and go along a platform, there's another chest. You can get the shurikens. Did you find the shurikens? Yes, there's some
possibly.
shurikens, and you can switch so you can switch to them, press spacebar and switch to them, and that allows you to throw shurikens at the enemies, so you can do that as well. But the combat itself is pretty weak. You just swing in. A lot of times they're right next to you and you're not hitting them, so it gets a bit frustrating. Title screen music, as you said, is nice. I like listening to that, but it could have done with some in-game music. It really needed something in-game, as it feels empty. Some music would have certainly livened things up a little and just kept it a bit more atmospheric. It's not terrible. This is a weird magazine release. It's certainly a strange one. But yeah, those kind of walking along, talking to people did sort of make me think back to Usagi Yojimbo, which I think, you're probably better off just going to play that if you want something like this, which is wander left to right, whether it's flick screen or scrolling screen. That's the better game. But if this was a freebie on a magazine or whatever that magazine was, sort of thing, then okay. I did like some of the graphics and some of the background stuff, quite interesting. But I think the game is lacking the finesse of maybe, a publisher or a playtester going,
Yeah.
we just need to tidy this up a bit of tidying and a bit of bit more context in places. Might have had a decent little game here, but it's just it just asks a bit much, but it's not terrible, just a bit weird.
That's it.
And the Lost Ninja, it's not a ninja. I don't know who drew that. It's not a ninja. It's just weird. So the first in our ninja-based games, it's certainly Lost, and I'm not sure it was a ninja. Let's see if our next ninja game can be more ninja-y than this one. Well, that was the Lost Ninja, the first ninja that evaded the claws of the Zzap crew. This one has also hidden well in the shadows. This is Master Ninja, Shadow Warrior of Death.
Okay.
And it only seems to have come out in the US, this. So that's probably why they've never seen over here. And for that, I have to say I am massively grateful.
Yes.
Hugely grateful. This is from Paragon Software. We've seen them before because they did the Amazing Tiny Spider-Man, if you remember that.
They did.
The Adventures of the Amazing Tiny Spider-Man. They also did a game called X-Men Madness in Murder World as well. But we never saw that one either. Anyway, though, the developer of this was Mark E. Seramet, and I presume that's how you pronounce his name, I don't know. And the C64 conversion was by James C. Hilty, who did the code, visuals, and music, although Jane Yeager also helped out on the visuals. Not sure what the split was, but that's who did it. James Hilty, so it's the only thing she's listed for. James Hilty seems to have done a load of games, though. None of them we've seen.
Okay.
And based on this?
Good.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So Master Ninja. What's it all about? Let me read you the story of Master Ninja. Thousands of years ago, in the mystic heavenly land of Takamagahara, Ago Amatsuma, the Japanese god of blacksmiths, forged a magical katana. Weird. A longsword of great power. The katana was presented to a noble Japanese hero by the name of Raiko, who was once the greatest samurai in all of Japan. The gods gave the mighty sword to Raiko so he could destroy all evil in the land and bring the Japanese people into one united country, free from the devils and demons that destroy mankind. After Raiko's death, the katana was bestowed upon the Shinto priests, an ancient race of Japanese holy men whose temple was in the Eiga Mountain province. Surrounding the temple were several villages of great shadow warriors, the Eiga Ninja, who guarded the temple and its priests with fierce conviction. The katana has laid in peace for several hundred years, until now. Recently, Sanjo Yamamoto, an evil daimyo, a Japanese warlord, along with the Koga Ninja, ancient rivals to the Eiga Ninja, broke into the ancient temple, stole the precious katana, and murdered several holy priests. The Koga Ninja were believed to be skilled in the ancient art of black magic and were thought to be in league with evil demons. The Koga Ninja stole the katana for promises of power, wealth, and eternal life from Sanjo. Sanjo's ultimate goal is to use the katana to bring great evil back to the land and to restore his lost youth so he can claim power as the dark overlord of all of Japan. If Sanjo continues his dishonorable quest, many innocent people will perish, and the evil gods, who were once banished into hell, will rule again. For Sanjo to be able to control the power of the sword, he must have assistance from Hachiman, the god of war. Hachiman demands mass sacrifice for his assistance. The sacrifices must commence during the full moon of the month of the dragon. The time is very near. Yet there is still hope for salvation. You have been chosen by the elders of the temple and your ninja sect to recapture the magical katana and return it to the power of good. Your mission will be the greatest challenge of all time. You must go to the castle of Sanjo, where the sword is hidden, and be prepared to lay down your life for the glory of defeating the powers of evil. You must make your way through the many chambers of the castle, where numerous life-threatening obstacles lie. The evil Koga Ninja dwell there, and their skill and power are great. You must also face powerful samurai who are skilled weapon experts. Beware, for Sanjo also has deadly animals hidden in dark chambers. Take heed of the Koga Ninja and the evil ninja priests because they have mastered the dark arts with great skill. You must call upon all of the martial arts skills that you have been taught to defeat the samurai, Koga Ninja, ninja priest, and to assassinate Sanjo Yamamoto to recapture the katana. The mission requires skill, swiftness, and power that only few men possess. If you can work your way through the castle, assassinate the emperor, and bring the sword back to its rightful home, you truly will be the Master Ninja. Does that get the old ninja glands are throbbing?
No. Well, I suppose it's okay. It's better than the Matt Cale rubbish.
It really is, yeah. At least it's not the Adventures of HMRC man. Yeah, so after all that, what does the game entail? There's a lot of loading, for one thing. I'm not sure
Loads.
why. It's a multi-load and a slow one at that. The opening screen gives us some credits and a poor tune. I think it's supposed to be Japanese in tone, but it's single channel and it's not very good. Loads of text as well. The grey text on a red background as well, I seem to remember.
Yeah, something weird.
It ain't good. It's weird. But they've done a suitable font, I guess. That's something. Small mercies. Press fire, though, we get more loading. Before a screen explodes, ah! Before us with the word ninja on it for some reason. Against a non-centered Japanese flag, which is weird. It then switches to a ninja in silhouette against a yellow moon. Now, for someone who doesn't want to be seen, this ninja's is doing a very bad job.
It's always the case with these bloody ninjas.
I'm also concerned at the dangly bit silhouetted between his legs.
I'm hoping that was his belt.
His drawstring, yeah. The ties from the drawstring.
I hope it is.
Otherwise, it's his ninja baubles.
His ninja knackers are hanging out. His knickknacks, his ninnacks, actually,
his ninnacks, yeah. His ninborbs.
Which is a very delicate thing to be dangling around. I mean,
or his ninjas.
Exactly. You get them caught in on a doornail, you're going to know about it, aren't you? No matter what power of ninja you are.
That was the sound that we heard in that previous screen. Ah! And he's got his ninnak stuck.
Well, exactly. No matter how dedicated a ninja you are, if you don't, try and pass that test without squeaking, I tell you. No.
Yeah. We get another tune. It's not very good either. Single channel again. Pressing fire takes us to the story screen. Same music. It's what we've read up above. Just proceed a bit. Press fire for more loading. Before we get to the control screen. So the game itself is a one-on-one beat-em-up. So left to right, it's a one-on-one beat-em-up game. Here we see the controls for all the directions, with or without fire. I'm not going to go through them all. There's 16 moves. You got your standard kicks, punches, rolls, jumps, crouches, all that kind of stuff. With using your fire button, your diagonals, or your not fire button, all that kind of stuff. So it also says, though, F1 is for throwing a shuriken, F3 is for throwing a knife, F5 is for blinding powder, and
Pocket
F7
to you and me.
Yeah, and F7 is to turn around. That doesn't sound intuitive.
It's not good, Adrian.
No, it's not. On the side of the screen, though, off to the right, there's a Jawa in a red cloak looking on for some reason. I don't know why.
It totally is a Jawa in some kind of purple love dome.
Yeah, it's like, UTD!
What is he even
What
there?
is he doing there? Hey, I'm just some guy, What's he doing there?
I don't know what he's doing there. He's trying to find R2-D2, I think.
Maybe. He's not going to find him in this game. Once you've looked at your controls, if you want, you can press fire for more loading, and you're told your journey begins. This is a lie, though, because next up is a practice screen. So your journey hasn't begun yet. You're practicing, and this is where the horror of this game is fully given to you, and maybe not, because maybe think, maybe this is just a sort of simulation practice screen, because your ninja is just drawn as a yellow outline on the left of the screen in a sort of box. There's a box that goes around it, and there's a red outline of a samurai on the right. You can practice moves. You can't do certain moves when you're close to the left-hand side of the screen. It just says back punch. I'm like, I know I have. That's what I've just done. Animate it, but it can't because you're too close to the edge of the screen. Okay, it's terrible practice. There's few frames of animation. You're thinking, okay, maybe this is just a sort of simulation. Maybe the game will be better. So you press P for more loading, and it tells you now that the real journey begins. Okay, right. And then you get your first real fight against another ninja. And no, they were the graphics. That was it. They're just outlines against a black backdrop for most part. It's got some mountaintops above it at the top, towards the top. There's some stars, really bad stars, a sort of blue sky, a shit moon. I could draw a better moon than that.
It's not good. It's like a banana.
It's like, we fight under the light of the banana.
The sky banana is angry.
Absolutely. As it was told in the ancient text, when the banana hangs low, ninjnacks will be rolled asunder.
Now, take out your ninnacks and let's do this Conkers style.
Have you cracked my ninnacks?
I knew I should have baked them in the oven.
Soaked them in vinegar.
Ouch.
Anyway, so that's your lot. There's no UI, which is weird in a fighting game. So
there isn't.
So you set about each other trying to land blows in this outline ninja simulator.
So stupid.
rubbish. So at some point you'll do a random amount of damage because who knows? I don't know how much you'll kick. They'll go when they get hit. The head will move back slightly, and you when you've done a certain amount of damage for no reason that I don't know how much was. The opponent just flashes, and he goes. I was like, what's happened? And he falls on the floor, and he's like, oh, you've killed him. Okay, this is crap. And then you move on to your next opponent, which is the same samurai guard you saw in the practice room. But this guy immediately killed me with a magical spear. He just threw a spear at me. He killed me immediately. I was like, dead. And the game told me at this point that I should have practiced my stealth walking techniques more. I was like, what stealth walking techniques? What are you talking about, you weird thing? What is this? Stupid. And it says you have let down the ninjas and blah, 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 all this. At this point, I turned it off. Good. I mean, I'm not having any more of this. No, God, no. This is beyond awful.
Yep.
Beyond awful. It's another contender in the Lee Enfield and Bob Winner category of out and out, shit brown dog eggs.
It is.
This is just crap, all out crap. The images at the start of the game in no way reflect the frankly shite game that is about to be thrust upon you. I was not prepared for this. I think, I was unaware. There are no redeeming features here at all. Nothing good to say about it. It plays like arse. It looks like arse. It is arse. Purest arse. Back to the shadows with this one. It should never have been let out. We should never have looked at this. We've done a bad thing in actually bringing this to the attention of the public. Don't play this. We have played this. Never has the motto of this podcast been truer. We have played this so you don't have to. A true piece of shit. I'm very sorry I made you play. I apologise. Please forgive me. But what did you think?
It's rubbish. I mean, first comment was holy shit. Firstly, right, what annoyed me, you go through the various layers of preamble, and one of them on there, it credits its wondrous use of Taekwondo, which is a Korean martial art. It's nothing to do with Japan or ninjas at all, which worried me. I thought, that's not a good way to start a ninja game, is it? It says that this was accredited with a first Dan Taekwondo expert. I'm like, great, ain't going to help you with ninjas, but okay, go for that. Then there was the appearance of the Jawa and the really weird controls, and I was looking at it going, I'm not liking this. I've got a karate chop in there. It's got the move called chop, like back fist and chop, but this sound like I'm not sure what's going on. And what's the difference between a back fist and a reverse punch? I don't know. Maybe they're sort of, I don't know, one's forward, but not, I don't know. I don't care. The actual game itself, holy mother of God. It is utterly shit. This is bad. This is even worse than it would have looked on a BBC. I mean, this, I expect this kind of thing on the BBC Micro at some point. I don't know why, but it sort of looks like that kind of thing. It's like school level ninjas. It is so shit with its stupid mountainous sky banana background and it's awful. It's so utterly awful. I couldn't believe I couldn't believe it. I thought this is an actual real game that people probably paid money for at some point. Yep. It is so utterly devoid of anything playable. It is slow, sluggish. Even there's only 2 colours of ninja on their outlines, and even they're slow and crappy. It is so bad. It's easily a contender for one of the worst things I have ever seen on the C64. And I was getting suspicious, Adrian. The more barriers it was putting in my way to the game, the more loading and screens of text that appeared, and the more it's coming. Honestly, Gov, I'm like, what is? Yep. And then it unleashed its full dog. I mean, even I tell you what, when I put this on, there was a knock at the door at the exact same time, the ring of the doorbell, actually. I went to it. There wasn't anybody there. And then when I came back in the room where the game was on, I found Mandrake trying to smash it. And I was like, who the hell are you? And it was like, this game had survived his attention somehow. So he was making good on that. And he disabled it. It is just utterly devoid of anything at all. The worst game of, goodness me, crap. Thank God Zzap didn't get hold of this. They'd have marmalised it. It wouldn't have fared well with them. Like it didn't with us. We might post some screens of it in our Discord just so that we can share the love of how crap it is with them. But just seek out Master Ninja Shadow Warrior of Death. Don't play it though. For the love of all the things you hold dear to yourself, don't play it, because we really did play this so you didn't have to. And just think, they even tried to introduce a little bit of science fiction into this and it didn't help. You can't just put Jawas in ninja games. They don't like it. They don't like it.
They don't.
It's crap. It's so crap. It's crap. It's really, 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 really crap. avoid.
The original came out on DOS in 1986 and it's the same kind of those kind of shitty outline graphics. There's no reason for it to look like this. In 1988 and the C64, you've got IK Plus, you've got Barbarian, you've got Exploding Fist. It's just no.
Can you imagine the American audience, the American kid that got this for Christmas, and then his mate came around with IK Plus? You're going to look like it. You're going to look like a simpleton.
Yeah. It's just going to be a right punch to the knickknacks.
It is, yeah. Your ninja, your ninja tackle is going to be well and truly exposed, and it isn't good. So no, rubbish, rubbish,
awful,
horrible,
just
awful,
dreadful,
awful thing, terrible.
Yeah.
Back to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah,
to thy speed at wings.
I'm so sorry I made you play this. I'm really sorry. I just saw ninjas and I went, I can't, ninjas. Who knows?
Nobody should have. I know. For a minute, I hovered over my summon a ninja to attack Adrian button and I thought, no, he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it.
I didn't mean it. I do apologise.
I got Lee Van Cleef on the phone. Lee, I need you more than ever.
It's all right because I'd have got David Carradine to say him off.
Aren't they both dead?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. We've
got very special telephones.
We have. Well, we can summon the Master Ninja now. Well, we have the skill.
I don't want to, though. I really don't want to.
Not these ones.
No. There you go. That's Master Ninja, Shadow Warrior of Death. This is Master Ninja, also known as Master Ninja 2, which must mean somewhere along the line there's a Master Ninja. I couldn't find it, though.
No.
And I didn't go looking too hard because I'd have thought I was summoning all demons from hell.
No, absolutely. I've just realised, looking at a screen grab of that I took, they've got no knees. They've got no ninja knees. So.
Ninnies.
No knees. Got elbows, but no knees. Wow, what kind of crazy drew those? No, you don't.
They're outmoded joints.
No.
There we go. After that travesty, let's move on to our next ninja extravaganza and see if that's any better. Okay, so after the horror of Master Ninja, Shadow, whatever it's called. It pains me to think about it. We'll move on to our next ninja game. Graham, this is over to you to tell us all about the dreaded, the fearful Ninja Massacre.
The Ninja Massacre of I don't know what year they would have been.
Who knows?
So this came out in 1989, published by Codemasters. Codemasters did this.
Yeah, they did.
So I imagine it was $2.99. Didn't write the price down, but $2.99 probably was. Obviously, we don't have a score for Zzap because it wasn't in there. Just they didn't give a crap about it. This was coded by John D. Ferrari. He did Human Race and Hollywood or Bust. The musician is Matt Gray. He did Driller and Last Ninja 2 and Professional BMX Simulator, as it will become obvious. What's it all about then? What's this ninja game about? Fight hand to hand and throw Death Stars to annihilate the suicidal hordes of Brocken warriors.
Brocken?
That's what it says. Some are tough and need to be hit a few times before they fall. Grab rice and ski to keep your strength up. It's hard work decimating the Emperor's minions. Find keys to open locked doors and treasure chests. Use you throwing star to destroy the trapdoors that the monsters emerge from. After every 5th level, you'll find a password. Select enter password from the start options and type it in. Then you will start future games at that level. There are 50 huge levels to fight through. Find the staircases to move up through them. Try 2 players at the same time for a real oriental bloodbath. Okay. Use the menu to select keyboard or joystick. More hints. Fight to gain extra shot power, reflective shots, smart bombs, extra weapons, and more. Look for destructible walls, secret passages, transporters, and trapdoors. There you go.
How do you play it?
Isn't it? Exactly. So, first note here is that this music is actually in the game is from Professional BMX Simulator.
I thought I'd heard it before.
So when you hear a that's from that. So what we have here is a ninja-themed gauntlet clone. What dark depths this crawled from, we may never know. But here it is. The loading title screen gives you the details on the enemies or nasties, pickups and such and things like that. And then to the title screen with the music and our ninjas, who at this point look more like Egyptian mummies. It's leaning on that high-res look at this point, so the graphics are quite spectrum-ish, with that horrible use of high-res yellow that you always see in this kind of thing, which is a colour I've come to loathe over 1,500 games of this time. You could choose 1 or 2 player or enter a password to go back to the level that you're on, which is a nice touch for this kind of thing. And once you do with that and choose what you're going to do, the game starts. Quite simple enough gameplay to this. It's Gauntlet, so a top-down view with your characters shown and moving around more like in an RPG, really. This is a push-scroll game, though. So the camera doesn't follow you around so much, which isn't great for this kind of thing, but it is, I suppose, passable. Graphics in the game were okay on the small side, but you can see what they are. And they do have a little ninja running around, so you've got that. Joystick movement to control your direction. Fire button shoots shuriken stars in whatever direction you point the joystick. The holding the button fires continuously. The aim here, run around, collect stuff, shoot the rooms full of spawning enemies, and get to the exit to go through the 50 levels. Very Gauntlet in every respect, I thought.
Very.
So the game is very of its type, but actually and oddly playable in its own kind of weird logic. The screens and maps are varied enough, I suppose, for the levels, and there's plenty of enemies to shoot at. It's not frightened of spawning a few things on this. And I'd go as far as to say that it isn't all bad, actually, for the budget money. It's more or less a reasonable Gauntlet clone, actually, for the kind of cash. Better than most of the other budget fodder we've seen for this. The sounds and music are okay. They're not from this game, but don't let that put you off. They don't fit at all, though. They're for a BMX game. It's nothing to do in Ninjas, unless it's BMX Ninjas. But it's not terrible. Thumpy Matt Gray doing thumpy stuff. It kind of works all right, no matter what. And I thought it added some weird heft to this game as well, because the lightweight sprites and the lightweight high-res was matched by Matt Gray's thumpy soundtrack, which kind of blended into a thumpy visual. So it thumps your eyes with its sound. So it makes your eyes, gives you black eyes. So I think it thickens the graphics by making the soundscape dense. That's the way I can describe it.
It's like adding an OXO cube into your gravy.
It is. Matt Gray is the OXO cube of C64 musicians. He thickens the game.
He had some stock. He's bred from the finest stock.
He is. He's the cornflower of musicians.
Fair enough.
And so what there is here is fairly simple. When you get to the game, the bottom of the screen has a very rudimentary UI framed in that horrible yellow, but it's there with just kind of your strength, which they can't spell. So it's got your strength in it as opposed to your strength. In your treasure score, it's very simple, very Gauntlet inspired. As you run around, your health depletes. And you can find the various healths and things to increase that and the extras. You're inundated with enemies, which you have to shoot and then move into the rooms. It's Gauntlet, in that respect. With a little ninja running around. The only difference, of course, is that that scrolling, which push screen cross scrolling, which is not really compatible with this kind of thing. So what there is here is simple, and it probably shouldn't work, and it kind of does. It's let down a little bit by that push scrolling, which I think holds the game back from being a bit better, really. The graphics, like I said, they're okay. They're around the edges. They're a bit too Spectrum looking for me, but the extra gravy that's been added gives them a bit of heft and a bit of thump. So I was happy with it. And they move around. There's plenty of things to shoot at. There's plenty of space to explore. The levels are pretty varied as well. Some of them have got quite a bit of sort of doors and place to navigate. They're not all just big empty rooms with doors and things like that. There's some are a bit more like Boulder Dash, where you got to run through and sort of reveal stuff and shoot your way through things. And there's variety to it. What can you say? If you get to 5 levels, you get a code and you can type it in and go back to that. I thought that was pretty good as well. So I think I didn't hate it. I didn't hate this game at all. In fact, once I was past the Spectrum styling and the push scrolling, for budget money, we've seen a lot worse than this in terms of Gauntlet clones. This is just doing Gauntlet by the simplest way. And by keeping it to that simplicity and keeping its budget price and not pretending that it's got any levels of complexity to it, there's 50 levels, which isn't a bad tally for a budget game. So I thought this was all right. It's certainly not the worst Ninja game we've played. And I think it would have probably scored, it would have scored in the 60s, maybe 60s, mid 60s or something like that for a Gauntlet clone because of its budget value and because it does do the Gauntlet stuff pretty well. Better than some of the other ones, like I said. So I thought it was all right, this. It certainly is a Ninja Massacre. I'm not sure that they understand what ninjas are about and what they really are, and they can't spell for shit, but what does it matter? What does it matter? At least they got the word ninja spelled correctly. And they had it in quite a nice typeface, which I quite liked. So, I thought this wasn't bad for the money. And I'm not sure where it came from, but it doesn't matter. You go in this game, if you're expecting anything other than a big slaughter of what look like space operas with smiley faces, well, you're wrong. That's what it is. And it does that pretty good. So I quite like what I played. What about you?
Yeah, I have a few issues with it. It needed play tested a bit more because it's quite... I found myself getting trapped in places. Yeah,
so like I said, it's weird, but
it's weird sort of thing. So like sometimes you'll because the keys, there'll be a key in the level, and there's multiple doors, but also the keys are used to open the chests. So like on the second level, I grabbed the key, opened the chest, and I couldn't get into any of the rooms with the thing, so I was stuck. I was like, oh. And then the next level, where you have to blast your way through all the rocks. Those white sort of goat things sort of turned up, and you can't kill them. or I couldn't, and they just trapped me in a corner and I couldn't move, and I was like, oh, God's sake.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of play testing, but so maybe, it is what it is, but it is annoying because there's a neat little 2-player Gauntlet clone here that runs pretty well. It's fast. And there's loads of things on screen. Loads.
Yeah.
They've done a good job in actually filling the screen with enemies. I mean, they're obviously character graphics up blown up, but they work really well. I wish it scrolled properly. I don't like the push scrolling thing.
No.
But for, as you say, we've played a lot worse Gauntlet knockoffs in our time. We think of things like Storm, Dandy, and there's just loads of them we've played that have been just god awful Gauntlet. This is actually all right. I was quite impressed, and 2 players as well. For a budget Gauntlet thing, there's a lot worse out there. I don't know if it was released. I don't know, or whatever price it was. I don't know where it's crawled out of or where it went to. It's definitely out on the Amazon Spectrum. Whether the C64 version never saw the light of day, I don't know. But it don't matter. Maybe that explains why the music's there as well. Because I knew I recognised it. I just couldn't think where from. Yeah. But yeah, it's But the thumpy Matt Gray music is actually quite,
adds some gravy to the game.
It really does.
I meant to say it had a nice loading screen on this game as well. Actually,
it does have a nice loading screen. Yeah, there's a lot to like in this. It's got nothing to do with ninjas though.
No, not really.
Not really. Ninjas are not known for going into dungeons and killing thousands of enemies.
No,
and stuff.
Not really their MO.
It's a weird sort of thematical choice. But if you want something that just allows you to do, I mean, in 2-player, you probably wouldn't have those problems where you get trapped. But if you want a Gauntlet clone that actually runs quite fast and has loads of enemies on screen and you can deal with the push scrolling, this is all right. This was all right. I didn't mind this. That was quite a bit of fun. Yeah. But there you go. That's Ninja Massacre. Oddly enough, right, if you go to the page on this and you look at the Commodore user review for this, they call it Ninja Massage.
Of course they do. This is a whole different thing.
That's the headline. That's the thing. And they refer to it in the text as Ninja Massacre, but somebody's written Ninja Massage as the sort of heading as the review, which made me chuckle. But there you go. That's it. That's Ninja Massacre. Let's move on to our final foray into the world of secret ninjas on the C64. And this one, after Ninja Massacre, this is Kid Nicky, Radical Ninja.
Ooh,
he's radical, this one. This is our final ninja to sneak from the shadows. This was only released in the US at the time, hence why it never got a Zap review. It never came out anywhere else. It released, as far as I can make out, somewhere around the end of 1987, beginning of 1988, somewhere around Christmas 87, I'd say it came out. And it's an arcade conversion, this. From the wiki, Kid Nicky, Radical Ninja, known in Japan as Kaiketsu Yanchimaru, is a 1986 platform video game developed and published by IREM for arcades. Initially released only in Japan, it was later released internationally by Data East in 1987 for the NES. The arcade game runs on IREM 62 hardware, the same as Kung Fu Master.
Okay.
I couldn't find anything about where it charted, so there's no, it was the second most popular game. I couldn't find anything around that, unfortunately. But it did say that computer gaming world called Kid Nicky yet another in the seemingly endless parade of horizontally scrolling, running, jumping, shooting games for the NES. While the reviewer stated that those who enjoyed such games would like the game, he wondered how many of these interchangeable games Nintendo will authorize. Even devotees must be getting tired. There you go. Doesn't bode well. Maybe not. Let's have a think. So, as noted, originally developed by IREM in the arcade for being ported by Data East. Porting duties here, though, were done by Quicksilver Software. Do you recognise them, Graham?
I do recognise them.
Yeah, because we've seen them before. They did the US versions of Ikari Warriors. If you remember that horror. They did that god-awful tag team wrestling, which we looked at ages ago. And they also did that Victory Road game. That crap Victory Road awfulness. So, and now that this is it, 4 games, this is the 4th one. It's not boding well at all for this. But what does the manual say about this game? What does it say about how to play Kid Nicky? Okay, so Kid Nicky, let me just put this a bit bigger so I can read it with my old eyes. As Kid Nicky, you are a rad and bad punk dude. Your spike-haired girlfriend, Princess Margot, has been kidnapped by the Stone Wizard. You must make your way through 7 levels to rescue the princess from the wizard's castle. You will encounter many enemies, including a big boss at the end of each level. Gameplay. You are armed with the spinning sword, which has been passed down from generation to generation from the school of Chirin. Spin your sword to defeat most enemies, except for the big bosses. To attack flying enemies, jump while spinning your sword. The bosses, across in a list of bosses for the levels. I'm not going through the levels on this. We'll get to why that is in a bit. But the bosses you got to kill, and it actually comes up at the beginning. It says kill Death Breath. So the first boss is called Death Breath. You have to hit him with 3 hits in the rear end. He basically jumps up and you run underneath him and you hit him from behind. You have to kill Spike for level 2, 3 hits in the back. Level 3 is the final witch, the one with the arrows. You got to hit her twice. Level 4 says kill the grody blue grub by removing each body part and then hitting the head 3 times. Level 5 has kill Baldy with 3 hits to the body. Level 6, kill the samurai guard with 3 hits in the head. And finally, level 7, kill the stone wizard with 3 hits in the leg while avoiding Princess Margot. Watch your timing. There we go.
Okay.
Indeed. So 7 levels to fight your way through. Okay, this is a left to right. In the arcade, this is a left to right scrolling, run and swipe your sword. Okay. And that's like I said, I'm not going to go through what the levels are. They're all relatively the same kind of thing, because the problem is that this is rubbish. This is absolute rubbish, this game on the C64. So let's start with the major crime here, okay? In the arcade and on the NES, this is a left to right and sometimes up and down scrolling beat 'em up. Flat to the screen, in the vein of like Green Beret, Rygar, that kind of thing. Well, it's very much like Green Beret. It's close quarters combat. So you run up, you can only you swing your sword close. You don't have any sort of ranged attacks or anything like that. Right. The C64 version, for some inexplicable reason, is flick screen. I don't get it. This game should have been bread and butter for the C64. It's literally built for it. Simple scrolling, not too many sprites on screen, nice and simple and easy character graphics for the backgrounds, a boss that is made up of a few sprites, nothing else on screen. There's no reason why this should not have been a solid conversion. There's nothing in this game that the C64 can't handle with the plot, easy. It's the kind of game the C64 was built to do. Yeah, really simple stuff. And yet this is execrable on every level. It's just awful. The arcade and NES, they've got simple music. It's catchy, easy on the ears as you're playing. It's nice. Sort of look at both of them. The C64 has silence and the odd sound effect. The sprites and background in the NES and the arcade are bright and jolly. They're good. But on the C64 version, they're bitty and ugly and ill-defined. And the backgrounds have this weird, the sky's got this weird, odd cross-stitch shading.
Dither.
For some reason. Yeah, it's ugly. It's horrible. It just looks, just put it blue.
Yeah.
The end bosses, they're recognizable as the arcade, but they look crap. And when you die in this, you push back several screens to do it all again. It's just a pain in the friggin' ass. And on top of all that, it's a multi-load. I don't understand why. You compare this to Green Beret, okay, which came out. This game came out after Green Beret, a year after, or in the same year. Look at that Green Beret sort of conversion on the C64. All the scrolling, it's basically the same sort of thing. Running along, stabbing, enemies coming towards you. It's the same kind of game, exactly. And then we get this, a flick screen nightmare. It beggars belief. I don't understand why people kept giving these Quicksilver guys games to port, because they're just useless. This is just crap. Why would you make a scrolling game flick screen on a machine that, as you have said time and time and time again, has hardware designed to scroll the screen? It has a register, as you've said time. It's just there. It does it. Why make it flick screen? And when it flicks, it does that horrible draw in of the next screen as well. It's slow and horrible. There's no excuse for this. You're not going to play this for very long. I don't. It's got nothing to do with being a ninja either. You're dressed in orange. The actual game of this, you actually look like the main character out of Dragon Ball on the covers of the games I saw. So I think it's maybe a rip-off of them. I don't know. But this is a terrible game. There's no excuse. It's rubbish. Rubbish on every front. Thank God it never made its way over here. The arcade's not brilliant, but it's simple. It's simple. It's got some funny little sort of sound effects and sort of samples and things in it like that. It's a simple left to right scrolling, wave a sword at people and they die, they bounce away, and that's it. Just should have been so much better. There's no reason for this being so bad. Awful stuff. Bloody rubbish. Just, oh God, it made me angry playing this because it shouldn't be like this, but it should be simple fodder for the C64. What did you think?
What fresh hell was this? It was horrible. Really horrible. visually distorted, childish-looking garbage. It reminded me of them really early Tony Crowther games. You remember them going way back to the early 80s?
Yeah.
It was just utterly devoid of proper style, and it was just horrible. Unplayable. I found myself not really being able to play it because it just, as soon as I touched anything, it just made that horrible noise, and I couldn't really figure out what the hell I was meant to be doing. I mean, how can you get these games wrong? Gianna Sisters exists, remember?
Yeah.
And because of that, and also there's plenty of other games even that are making attempts at this. That I mean, look at CJ's Elephant Antics, for example, or anything. There's so many games of this type on the C64. This is the one kind of genre that it can do pretty well. This was just utterly devoid of anything meaningful. As soon as I saw that wide typeface writing, I was like, I knew it was going to be awful. And then when the graphics finally appeared, and there was these giant sponge-like mounds with a checkered sort of crosshatch background with these, it looked badly drawn, and just the kind of nightmarish sort of visuals that no. The C64 is and has always been more capable than that. This is just a stain. The graphics were a stain, and it was a really terrible thing. So I hated everything about it from the second it started to the moments of relief, and I switched off that nightmarish. It's just so bad. Visually, one of the worst things we've seen in a long, long time. That's so ugly to look at as a C64 game. A reminder of how far things have gone. Think of Stormlord. Think of any of the games, any of the Palace games. Think of Antiriad. Think of the games where we've seen some amazing graphics, and look at that and go, what arsehole did that come from, and why did it not stay there in some kind of constipation? And we haven't talked poo for a while, so I'm going to poo it up. It's poo. Utter rubbishy poo game. Hated it. Yeah. Terrible. No, nothing radical and ninja about it. It didn't even look like a ninja. It looked like a blue splat. I don't know what it was, with a real gaunt face. It's quite haunting, really. It didn't even have legs. Terrible.
Just think, same year as this, Whizball came out.
Just it's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah. Or, you think of how, like, 1985, you had summer games too.
Parallax, and like say Whizball, and summer games too, and just so many amazing
games that scrolled with nice graphics and everything.
And you're not that far from Gianna Sisters. You're not that far from any one of those. Even some of those simpler versions of this, Pac-Land and stuff like that. They're all better than this.
Pac-Land's a good call. But like I said, Green Beret was the one I sort of...
Yeah, Green Beret exists. My God, yeah.
It's just ridiculous. It's just dreadful. There you go. Kid Nicky, Radical Ninja. Oof, awful.
Egg.
Egg indeed. And there you go. That's it. That's our trip down the ninjas that escaped into the wild. Some of them with good cause. Some of them should have remained hidden, I think, Graham.
Yeah, yes, they should.
I think
stay in the shadows and don't come out.
Absolutely. Please don't. Come out. Nicky. I mean, Ninja Massacre is probably the best one. Well, Lost Ninja wasn't too bad, I think.
Yeah, it's in order of preference. Massacre, Lost Ninja, and then we're getting to the real crap.
I don't think I can actually make a choice between Master, whatever it was. Master Ninja. Master. I think that's probably still the worst. That's one of the worst things I've seen in ages.
Yeah,
but Kid Nicky's just a dreadful thing.
Yeah. Blocky. I say that. I say we've had the two ninja games that have both got bad graphics, but in all fairness to Kid Nicky, you'd have to go some distance to be able to beat the outline crap that is the ninja graphics in Ninja Master, whatever. So God, yeah, that was shocking, but this isn't much better, really.
Yeah. Good Lord, yeah, just dreadful. But it's been quite a laugh. It's been quite interesting visiting these ninja games. There was the 80s, wasn't it? The 80s just had such a prevalence of ninja stuff.
I was obsessed with ninjas for a while, weren't we? We loved the old ninjas. Funnily enough, I watched the Tom Cruise. Is it The Last Samurai? Have you seen The Last Samurai?
Yeah.
There's a really good ninja attack in that. I did think of these games we were playing when this is, but it's genuinely a really good moment in the film of these ninjas like crawling over roofs and attack these samurais, and it's all pretty brutal. And it reminded me of that, and it actually prompted me to rewatch all of the Sword of Vengeance movies. So I've started rewatching them. That's got an amazing series of ninjas on beds and ninjas in cupboards, and there's ninjas bloody everywhere in that popping out of the woodwork.
What Sword of Vengeance is that?
Yeah, that's a Lone Wolf and Cub. Yes, so Shogun Assassin is an American version where they took two of the films and merged them into one and made the story up. But the actual Sword of Vengeance and the Lone Wolf and Cub series of movies, of which there's 7, I think.
Yeah.
So Lone Wolf at the River Styx, Lone Wolf at the Gates of Hell, Sword of Vengeance. There's loads, but I'm watching all them in sequence because they're all out on Blu-ray, which is kind of amazing. So,
are they good? I can't remember.
They are actually brilliant films. They get a bit silly, and there's a couple of them that really are genuinely brilliant, and there's a couple that are really stupid. But they're a lot darker than you remember them. There's a lot of nasty, bleak stuff that goes on in them. There's some really nasty physical attacks on women in them and stuff. But likewise, you've got, there's a really funny bit where the woman runs backwards away from him. It still cracks me up every time I see it. Is
that line, because it's the line that me and Gary always used to say about, I've always heard the perfect sound was the slicing of one's neck. I never expected to hear it from my own neck. Is that in, or was that not in, or was that?
No, that's it. That's in it. That's when he gets attacked by these 3 deadly assassins. That's the how ridiculous that's actually in it. Yeah. Although it's obviously in the subtitles because I've got it's in Japanese, but obviously it's dubbed.
Were the 3 assassins the same? Not totally, but were the same as the ones in Big Trouble?
Yeah, I think it has to be the inspiration for them. There's no doubt about that.
The 3 storms.
Because, in Big Trouble, they're the 3 storms, and they have the big brim sort of, the hats, peasant hats, I guess, whatever they call them. And there's probably a proper name for them. And they are very similar, although they don't have the magic powers. But they're alarmingly similar. 3 martial arts experts that look exactly the same. Yeah. So,
design-wise, they've obviously taken inspiration from there.
Yeah, and there's a point in it where they're all stood and they're looking at each other through the sort of the straw gaps in that little gaps in the hat, and that's very much taken out of. That sequence is taken and put into Big Trouble in Little China without a doubt.
Yeah, thought as much, but ninjas, they're everywhere. Yeah. Got to be careful.
On beds,
ninjas on beds.
Well, they're on kites, technically, but okay.
It look like they're on beds. So that's it. We hope that you've enjoyed this little different sojourn into the world of the ninjas of the C64.
Trip down Ninjury Lane,
Trip down Ninjury Lane, yeah. We were very careful that we didn't do ourselves a ninjury while doing this, and kept ourselves healthy and fit. If you like this kind of thing, we can do more of this sort of nonsense. Keep us going. Join the Patreon. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/Zapped to the Past. Ko-fi at ko-fi/Zapped to the Past, and come along, join in, and have some fun if you wish to. You get access to our Discord, get the episodes ad-free and early, and all that sort of thing. I quite enjoyed this. Ninjas just seemed to be a thing, didn't they? It's like, let's do some ninja games. There's those games we didn't look at. We'll be back, though, I'm sure, either next week or, whenever, as we carry on our march through the last few issues of Zap 64. So if you've just found us because you've searched for C64 Ninja podcasts, then go listen to the rest of our stuff, because there's over 200 episodes of this kind of stuff. So if you've liked what we do, go have a listen to the rest of it. I'm sure you probably are already listening. But if you are that one person who went, Ninja C64 podcast, I need to listen to that. And never listen to anything else, and we've got lots of stuff like this. Anything else you'd like to add, Graham, on the subject of ninjas on the C64?
No, just remember that ninjas are fully trained martial artists. You are not. Do not try to imitate them.
Absolutely. Or it may be your throat. You hear that ridiculous sound from...
Ridiculous.
Indeed. So be careful with that. Because
remember, as I said once, ninja swords are oh so sharp.
Yeah, and should you see a 2-frame outline walking towards you, and just run away quickly. It's not worth the hassle.
Run away.
Yeah, and on that note, I think we will go, and we will see you again soon. So as ever, I have been Adrian Mills.
And I have been Graham, not a ninja, Raddings.
And you have been listening to How Ridiculous. And we will see you again very soon. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Zap to the Past podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of Commodore 64 games, as well as the music, films and TV from around the 1980s, driven, of course, by the issue of Zap 64 magazine published at that time. We will return with a whole new batch of games and stuff to talk about next week. Until then, if you want to listen to or download previous episodes of Zap to the Past, and why wouldn't you, they can all be found on our website at zapptothepast.com, as well as being available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Audible, Player FM, and, pretty much anywhere where we can upload them. By the way, we do always love to hear from our amazing listeners, so if you'd like to contact us about anything in the podcast or beyond, you can do so by emailing us at zapptothepast@gmail.com. We're also active on Twitter under @ZapToThe, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and most social media platforms. Just search for Zap to the Past and you'll find us. Oh, and if you like the podcast and what we're doing, please do like, share, review, rate us. It really helps. Something, apparently. The Zap to the Past podcast is written and produced by Adrian Mills and Graham Raddings and recorded at Flaky Bits 2.0 Studio. All opinions expressed are those of the writers, and while we indeed love Zap 64 magazine, the Zap to the Past podcast is not affiliated with it in any way. Stay safe, see you next time, and remember, we play these games so you don't have to.